Fucking Bacchus mod doesn't update my MMR.
I don't even want to be in champ. There's
I don't
so
really
many.
want to be either, but like,
There's just so many Smurfs there.
team pinch scope. Aw.
Oh shoot! I should have maybe called that.
Maybe. But whatever. It's fine. They missed.
Uh oh, that was dangerous, Tanner.
Yeah, it was very dangerous. In? Nah. He's just fast.
Towards the net, but not fast enough.
I was trying to demo him, but I couldn't. So if I could have demoed him, that would have been cool. Sucks, buddy.
I mean, if I had put him on net and it was fast enough to get past him, and it was a very different shot, it probably could have also gone in. Oh, fuck, no!
So if everything was totally different.
Exactly. Yeah, kiss.
I just keep bumping into this guy.
I saw that. It was a very cute little kiss you guys have shared
two of
together.
It's almost like having someone care about you.
Oh, he cares about you, alright, just not the way you want him to. Yeah, you thought you had that.
I got. Never mind. Nice.
I don't have boost, so.
Fuck me, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just so stupid.
That's not good. He's gonna take his boost. Oh, flubbers. No, he doesn't have this. There's no way. Oh, oh. Ow, don't bump me. Yeah,
nice.
suck my butt. Suck
what a
my
shot.
butt. My butt is ready for sucking. Good thing I had enough boost for this. Oh my goodness.
Oh, gross.
Oh.
You thought, buddy. I could, like, you weren't even trying to hide what you were gonna do.
Oh, sorry. I was up
That was
too.
calculated, man. That was calculated.
Oh, I was okay.
Fucking dogs. Howling again.
Ow!
Sorry.
Will.
Fuck, I missed. Need to go up a little higher.
I'm not gonna say that was your fault, but I'm gonna blame you for it. That was a nice shot, though.
That was a good shot.
I better just get thanks in the chat over there. No, no class. I want to say thank you. Uh-oh. Never mind.
Oh! What are you? Who are you? All of a sudden you're cracked? What the fuck? Oh my god. That's disgusting.
I play this game with enough rage that it just kind of works out. Wow, he went for a demo on me, and he completely missed. Wasn't even close. Okay, it's coming straight down, coming straight down. Oh, he had to ruin it. What is this? Yeah, he thought.
Stealing shots all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's a little sus.
Great.
I didn't know we were playing Among Us over here.
Oh!
This guy, am I right? Ladies, you seeing this?
Stupid. It's so lucky. That was
If-
not that was not my intention at all. It just fucking worked.
Ladies, are you seeing this? If this guy can satisfy me from so far away, imagine what he can do to you.
Imagine what he can do when you're in his bed.
Oh, shoot. Sometimes I do bad things. Like pass it out to them like that.
Yeah, well, you got to flip reset out of it.
Sure, true. Okay, this guy is built forward tough in this thing. I think we have to make sure we win.
We do have to win.
It's probably some kind of like Trump supporter. And
Probably.
I don't have anything against you people being like, no, I like this president more. That's fine, whatever. But when you're like these people who like make it their identity, something's wrong with you.
Oh man, all these gay people. Maybe I'd respect them more if they didn't make it their whole personality.
No way. How did he miss this?
I don't know. But like, do people not see the irony in that? Like,
No.
Oh man, all these gay people waving their pride flags. I might respect them a little more if they didn't make it their whole personality. MAGA!
Yeah.
Trump won! Stop the steal! And just the complete denial of facts is kind of insane. And how basically Trump's above the law to them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Trump tells them that. Like, he's like, he even said, like, one day he was like, oh man, I don't think, no one should be above the law, I don't think I'm above the law. And then literally the next day he's like, I think presidents should have immunity. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. One of those things is not like the other.
Oh, I spilled coffee on my pants. Yep. Oh, but going back to the housing thing, I've actually come to a conclusion, okay? This might sound crazy, though you might agree with me. Okay, so since it costs less money to just provide really small, like bare bones free housing, okay, than it does to like constantly be taking care of people on the street. I thought, okay, that will solve that problem. But you know what else it solves? Do you know how difficult it is for the housing market to compete with free?
Very.
Which means they have to finally lower their costs. Because as soon as they get too high, people like us are going to be like, this is ridiculous, I'm not paying that, and I would rather live in a box for free.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And like, the other thing is, you've got all these employers who are forcing their employees to come back to the office for no reason other than protecting their own real estate investments in office space.
Yeah. Which is
So
also ridiculous.
we should start incentivizing these people to be like, okay, well, you can get rid of it, like, or like convert it to residential, like convert it to low-income housing, and we'll give you massive tax breaks for it.
Yeah.
And like, then you can keep people happy by working from home, and then that inadvertently also helps tackle.
Oh, sorry.
Take meaningful action on climate change. If you don't have people driving all the time, like, we can get rid of car dependency.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, it's winning across the board, and I'm like, and we're not doing it, and that was fucking disgusting. Why did I do that? That was incredible.
You know what?
But yeah, and then there's people who are always going to be like, oh, but then if you give people stuff for free, there's no incentive to work. I'm like, if I don't want to live in a box,
exactly,
and I want to be able to afford something better and not eat literal canned food all day, every day,
yeah,
there's incentive to work.
That, but also like, yeah, exactly. Say you want to go out anywhere. Okay, you need money. Therefore, incentive to work. It's not like, sorry, that was really bad. I'm putting it back.
That's fine. But like, they don't see that, and it's like, oh, if you give anybody anything for free, even if it's completely shit, it's enough to live in, but not enough to, well, I guess I should say enough to survive in, but not enough to live in.
Exactly, which is like a good place to start, because like, not everyone comes from a home where they can just stay there.
Yes, exactly. Like some people need out, and I'm like, we should not be. And like, what's the first fucking thing you need to get a job? We're like, oh, they should just get a job. What's the first fucking thing you need?
Yeah, an address.
An address!
Leave it.
It's the first thing they ask you for on an application is, what's your address?
Yeah, I whipped. And he... Oh, wow. Okay.
So, like, yeah. And just people are like, oh, there's going to be no incentive to work anymore. I'm like, people don't want to work in the first place. My incentive to work is I don't want to fucking die. That's not much incentive.
Oh,
and I don't really have a choice.
That's bad. Yep.
I somehow dodged a demo and came back to that save. I took myself way out of position to dodge the demo, and then somehow got saved too. What a save. Yeah, but I don't know. People like that just make me so mad. Like, they don't fucking think about things.
No.
They're just like poo-pooers, naysayers, and they don't actually use their brain. They don't take things to their logical conclusion, and I'm like, oh, but then no one would want to work anymore. No one would work anymore. I'm like, what's so bad about that? People weren't meant to fucking work.
Well, I would say they were, but it's not that much. Not the amount that we're asking people to do.
Well, yeah, and it's like, okay, I work my ass off to generate profit for a company that then puts it in its own pocket. I don't get any of that.
Yeah.
If I work my ass off and make a company rich, the company gets rich, and I get probably rewarded with more work.
Yep. Oh, good, I'm dead. I can come back really fast. That, but also for any of the libertarian conservative crowd out there, my argument too for like helping stop a lot of these monopolies and stuff is that the whole point of libertarianism, and same with a lot of conservative things, is that you are free entirely. Oh, Will, please.
That was pretty gross.
Please,
I'm not gonna lie.
I am questioning my sexuality right now.
Oh.
Oh yeah, over the hedge. Okay. Anyway, for the monopoly stuff, like the whole point of conservatism and a lot of like, put it in, yeah. Is that we're completely free to do what we want as long as it's not infringing on someone else's freedom. Now, like, at what point is that like direct or indirect? I think we have clearly crossed a line where it is indirectly controlling and ruining a lot of people's lives, the monopolies that are happening right now. So
Absolutely.
like, I would argue that like conservatives at this point should be hand in hand with liberals or whatever you want to call them.
Oh, well, they usually are, and the thing is, like, as far as the economic spectrum goes, like, conservatives and liberals are really not that different.
Yeah. Generally, yeah.
At least not in Canada. Like, liberals are kind of slightly right of center, I'd say, for their economic policies, whereas the conservatives are kind of more and more pushing to the ultra-right. Like, they're all for, tax breaks for corporations. I'm like, why would I want to give fucking Gaylord Chestnut a fucking another tax break when he's, like, the richest guy in Canada? Like, make him pay. And, like, they keep posting record profits and then saying they can't afford to give their employees raises and give them livable wages, and the cost of food keeps going up.
Yeah.
So, like, come on.
Ugh.
All these billionaire apologists are kind of disgusting, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, they got there because of hard work. I'm like, no, they didn't. They got there because of other people's hard work.
Yeah.
These people never worked. These people never worked a day in their life. What are you talking about?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure some did, but the thing is that once you have a snowball effect and you can start investing in more and more, and then also on top of most likely exploitation.
Oh yeah, like everyone gets. You can be a self-made millionaire, I guess, by investing properly and doing practically nothing. But like, you don't get to be a billionaire, like with a B.
Yeah, no.
Without exploiting people.
Also, what's going on right now? Your touches are just so good.
Apparently, I'm cracked right now. You're gonna get me talking about economics and my thoughts, and then all of a sudden I'm disgusting.
Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, I don't know. There's like so many things that could be so much better, and people don't even realize it. And then conservatives, quite often, especially with poor people, they get them to vote against their own interests.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but why would, as a relatively, well, not poor, but I'm not great, I'm not rich by any means,
Yeah.
why would I vote for tax breaks for rich people? Like, Polyev wants to, okay, he wants to give me a little bit of a tax cut, that's fine, but he also wants to get rid of my carbon tax. And it would basically, at best, be a net zero for me. It might honestly hurt me a little bit if he did that, because the carbon tax is $400 in my pocket every year.
Yeah.
But he's convinced people that, oh, tax is bad, it means increased costs. I'm like, well, not really. Like, you gotta look at how it actually works. And it's easy to find out with shit, like information they're not trying to hide from you. You can look it up. Simple Google search is all it takes, but they've convinced people that it's not in their best interest, even though for most people it is. Like, I guarantee you and Robin are making money off of it. Guaranteed.
Huh. Really? Even as freelancers? Doing, like, video work?
Off the carbon tax?
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude.
Oh.
Do you want me to explain how it works?
Yeah, please do.
Works?
I'm not super familiar, but I do know that our audience would love to hear it.
Okay, so the carbon tax in Canada is essentially a tax credit. So the government looks at two things and two things only. They look at where you live and how you file your taxes, whether it be a couple or a single. And that will determine how much money you get every year. So if you've ever noticed something, the CRA will send you something in the mail that says climate action incentive credit or something like that. And it'll be like, every quarter we deposit X number of X number of dollars into your account. So that's the carbon tax. The carbon tax is literally them putting money in your bank.
Okay.
So they do that, and then you can either make it go as far or not far as you want to. So you can change your lifestyle and be like, okay, well, I don't really need my car anymore. I'm gonna bike or take public transit. So the only things it really applies to are gasoline and home heating. So
kind of like the less you spend on gas, the more
the more money you make. The more money you make. Like, even though the cost at the pump is higher, like, and so I'm going to assume you and Robin don't pay to heat your home because you rent. Correct. So, like, okay, so there you go. How often do you fill up your car?
Maybe once a week.
How big is your tank?
2 liter?
No, like the gas tank. What's the capacity?
I don't know.
For your car, I would say probably 40, because it's small. So let's call it a 40-liter tank.
Oh fuck, that was my one.
You have to basically, okay, you fill it up once a week, 52 times a year, times whatever fucking 40 is, assuming you're going from empty to full every single time.
Yeah.
Which you're probably not. But so that's how many liters you use. I don't know what that number is because I don't have a calculator on me.
Why not?
And then you well, I mean, I have my phone here, but if you want to, in between games, I can literally calculate.
No, it's fine. I'm kidding. I'm just playing devil's advocate for the sake of it.
But so, and then carbon tax is 14 cents a liter right now. So you multiply that by 0.14 to figure out how much extra you're paying on gas, and then take that, or take the amount that you get in the carbon tax per year, subtract the additional cost, and whatever's left over is what you make in the carbon tax. So I don't pay to keep my home. I fill up probably once a month because I don't drive. This town is very small.
It's a good touch. Yeah.
So I got a 50-liter tank once a month, so I fill up 12 times a year, times 50. What is that? 600 liters? Yeah, 600 liters. Cool. Okay. So then... yeah, so then 600 liters times whatever, 14 cents. It's next to nothing. I did the math, and if you just pay for gasoline, you would have to consume 3,500 liters of gas per year before you start to lose money on the carbon tax.
Wow.
So for most, if they don't pay to heat their home, or they pay, or it's electric heating. Those are the only two options. Like, for most people my age, they're so against the carbon tax, and up here, they're so against the carbon tax, and I'm like, I guarantee you make money off of it. Like, these people who were all during COVID with vaccines, I'm gonna do my own research. I'm like, then fucking do your own research. It's like, you're not doing any research. It's not hard to figure this shit out. It's basic math.
Yeah.
And all it takes is a Google search and a calculator to figure out that the carbon tax is really only people it's hurting are people who drive gas guzzlers and use natural gas to heat their massive fucking homes.
Yeah.
That's who it hurts. And that's why the conservatives don't like it.
Yeah,
and like, people like, oh, the carbon tax makes oil so expensive. I'm like, buddy, oil prices are falling off a cliff right now. Even up here, it just went below $1.40 for the first time in over a year since I've been here. And the carbon tax is the highest it's ever been. So don't tell me anything about the carbon tax making gas expensive.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, it's a very, very small factor, and the oil market is so complex. There's so many things going on that there's no way that the carbon tax can single-handedly be responsible for gas prices soaring. I'm sorry. It's just, it can't. And
actually, wouldn't it actually drive the cost down because it's incentivizing people to not use it, and therefore to outweigh the cost, the benefit of not using it, they would have to drop the price?
That's the whole point. That's the other thing I hear a lot of conservatives say. It's like, oh man, this carbon tax, it's so wasteful, it doesn't work. Ever since it came in, I've been a lot more conscious about how much I use my car. I try to walk as much as possible. I'm biking again. I'm like, then it's fucking working. That's the point. Like, the fact that we don't realize that is fucking insane. And then they go on like TV and radio and say shit like that. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, are you actually serious? It's like, all these arguments are just so fucking stupid. They don't bother to find out whether something actually helps them or hurts them. They just assume, oh, tax equals bad. Better vote for Polyev. He's going to come in and fix everything. There's going to be no corruption ever. No scandals. It's going to be amazing. And it's like, oh yeah, Polyev's going to come in. He's going to fix everything. He's not corrupt at all. It's like, bitch, there's scandals. We just haven't found them yet.
Most likely.
No, it's guaranteed, dude. They all think they're so much better. And the liberals are going to do the same thing whenever the conservatives get in. Be like, look at this guy. He's fucking everything up. We've moved on from Justin. Now it's this guy. He's a stand-up guy. I'm like, no. Like, don't even try. They're all the same.
Yeah. But it's literally a game of just picking the lesser of two evils. That's all it is.
I know, but like, the thing is, you're going to get it no matter what, so you need to actually figure stuff out and pay attention and see what these guys want and if it's going to help you or hurt you. And then you get a lot of poor people voting conservative against their own interests, and they're very good at selling it. They really are. I don't even blame the conservatives for it. Like, they're extremely good at it. Yeah. Like, what they do is manipulation. Like, I'm going to spin this and try to get people to vote against their own interests. And it works like a charm. People fucking fall for it hook, line, and sinker. So, I don't know. I don't think there's any reason to be voting conservative unless you're old or rich or a bigot.
Well, I am hoping that he does do something with the houses, because...
But, like, what's his solution? Like...
He just wants to build a shit ton of houses, really. That's his solution. There's two... Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
But, like, are they going to be affordable?
I mean, he says there is. They're going to be, but I mean, that's also...
Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. That's what everyone wants to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't give a fuck about affordable housing.
Well, I mean...
The only one I would trust to actually give a fuck about affordable housing is the NDP.
That is true. I would trust them with it more, but they're not going to win, so...
I know they're not going to win, but, like... At least you can say you tried. If housing is what you care about, don't fucking vote conservative, dude. Just don't. That is actually... I lied. I am not telling people how to vote, because that's not ethical.
That will.
People should, as I just said earlier, and then undermine my own fucking point, people should do their fucking homework and figure out who's gonna do what and do I want that to happen, and then vote accordingly.
Yeah, oh, I was way too soft.
Like, I totally understand the appeal for people voting conservative if they're rich, because they're getting massive tax breaks. Like, the conservatives live to cut taxes, and then the thing is, though, whenever it comes to taxing billionaires and rich people, like, no one ever asks, how can we afford these tax cuts?
Yeah.
It's only when you're doing things like giving affordable housing and giving people food as a human right that all of a sudden the issue is how we're going to pay for it.
Yep.
Like, that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting that is happening in today's world.
Oh my goodness, Tanner.
That just went through, like, everybody.
Yeah. Just grazed me, grazed you. We're not grass. We're not here to be grazed.
Well,
yeah,
there's a lot of shit going on that I'm not too fond of.
I mean, that's everybody though. That's no matter which way you
yeah.
slice
I mean,
the
there's
cake,
no getting away from it. But I mean, the fact that in the last provincial election, like, Doug Ford ran away with it. Like, because no one showed up.
Yeah, no one showed up. Oh, it was so funny.
And the fact that, like, the young people are not getting politically involved is, like, scary. I'm like, you guys need to come out and vote, especially if you're going to sit here and complain about Doug Ford. Where were you? Did you go to the polls?
Yeah.
If you don't say yes, you can't bitch.
Yep.
You cannot complain. Even if you go to the ballot box and cast an empty ballot, you can still complain because you went out and you technically voted. I'm getting fucking fired up now, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. This is the high quality content our
It
viewers
is high
pay to
quality
see.
content, yes.
Okay, we lose.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, it was so
it's
funny.
amazing how the people who are like, oh man, I did my own research during COVID vaccines, but I don't like the carbon taxes. Pierre Poilievre told me that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, where is your research now, you piece of shit?
Hey, now, we don't want to be too mean to our viewers. Some of them are going to be conservative. I mean, I guess I'm not conservative anymore. I'm libertarian, probably pretty squarely.
Well, I mean, the political spectrum has like 3 different axes, and libertarian, authoritarian's one of them.
Okay, well, I wouldn't be the
Well, there's economic,
Yeah.
and social for sure. So you can be like economically conservative but socially liberal if you want.
Yeah, that's probably pretty
It's
accurate.
a pretty narrow window to hit, but in terms of finding a party to vote for.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of have to figure out which one is more important to you and then vote accordingly.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, just because even in Canada, like, oh, we got a multi-party system. Like, do we? Do we
do
really?
when it's a minority, I guess. Kind of.
Oh yeah, like kind of, but even then,
Oh, bad.
who are the only 2 parties that have a chance in hell of getting in Canada at a federal level?
Liberals and conservatives.
That may change though, because I notice a lot of politics these days is becoming increasingly charged. So I'm kind of like, the left seems to be going more left, and the right seems to be going more right.
Yeah, which is a big problem.
It is a big problem, but it's also how you get shit done. Like, you may not like it, and it could be kind of scary, given what we're used to, especially. But,
Yeah.
like, if you want shit done, you don't vote for any kind of moderate party.
It's true.
I mean, throughout history, it happened all the time, like, especially with the Nazis. Like, people, once the Great Depression hit and the economy collapsed, like, we need shit done. And this guy is promising, like, economic miracles.
Yeah.
So we're gonna vote for him. He was unilaterally, like, just a terrible human being, and that was awesome.
Thank you.
Not Hitler being a terrible human being. That.
No. I heard what you said.
For the record.
I heard what you said.
Okay. I figured I would clarify for the people who don't know me.
Everybody back at home watching, yeah, Wheezy is absolutely a Nazi. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking.
Joking, of course. We're having a good time here.
There are bad people on both sides.
there are terrible and great people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides. But, yeah, I mean, like, if you want results, you vote for extreme, and that's how you get shit done. Like I said, it's terrifying to think about, especially given what we're used to in the Western world with democracy and moderate parties kind of being the norm. But the only time I can think of where extreme parties don't get shit done is the Republicans. They literally can't even do anything when they have a House majority. They can't get anything.
Because their motto is basically just don't let any new bills through and cut taxes.
Yeah, and there's so much infighting too. Like there are moderate Republicans for sure. They do exist, but a lot of them are just throwing their hat in with the Donald, and that on its own creates huge division in their own party, and that's why they just can't get anything done. It's hilarious.
Oh well, the Republicans.
It really is
states
hysterical to watch.
The Republicans in the states are a joke.
Yeah, like it's
everything in the states is a joke right now.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, I want to move to Europe so bad.
Oh, I don't know. I like Canada.
I like Canada. I like Canada too, but honestly, I want to get farther away from the U.S.
Oh, that's fair. But then again, you know, the States does offer military security for us, which I do appreciate. As much as I don't like what a lot of them do. Oh, shoot it right out.
I mean, yeah, but like, what are the chances of anybody invading or attacking Canada?
Low, but that's also partially because they'll get their ass whooped by the United States. Like, there's no reason to attack us right now, but there was no reason to attack Ukraine.
There's also no reason to double commit on me right there.
You know what, Dad?
Oh.
No. Oh, okay. That was going to be a great team pinch. Oh, that's not where I wanted that to go. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I mean, there's shit like that happens all the time. But I mean, there is... The reason why people attack anybody is resources. Like, the whole reason for the conflict in Israel-Palestine now, especially the U.S. throwing their lot in with Israel, I think, is because there just happens to be a natural gas mine that is untapped somewhere in the sea. You guessed it, 20 miles off the coast of Palestine.
Yeah.
And somebody wants that.
It's probably not... I don't know where I was going with this joke.
The reason why anybody does anything.
Yeah.
Is there is something there that no one's touching that somebody else wants. Oh my god.
I need to have to whiff. Alright, we win this one.
Yeah.
This will make for a great episode of Teabag Party, by the way. The educational channel.
We should preface this, or in some way say, we are by no means experts. Everything expressed on here, for the most part, is opinion.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, this is not good.
No, it's fine. It all works out. Oh, you're going? Okay. I'll stay back.
Yeah, I'll go.
This is mine. This is mine. This one's mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine. My ball.
So, like, I don't know for a fact that that's why the U.S. is throwing their lot in with Palestine, or, sorry, Israel, in the whole conflict. I'm just kind of assuming. Also, weapons manufacturers probably have a huge hand in it, too.
Yeah, you want to be buddy-buddies with those people.
Like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, even Boeing, even, like, Saab, like the Swedish motor manufacturer or whatever, like Mitsubishi, like all these people also make like weapons and vehicles of war. And it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
I'm surprised KitchenAid hasn't come out with like some kind of wartime blender.
I'm boost starved.
It's
I'm
like
boost starved.
the Cuisinart surface-to-air missile.
Thank goodness he missed that.
So like,
oh, me. Oh fuck, that's going right in front of my head. And he's right there.
That was all my fault.
What? Sorry, I wanted to give you a little extra pow.
How did that not go in? That's hilarious.
Oh, blubber.
I should have called you off that.
No, it's okay. This is working out. It's in the corner.
I got a good spawn though.
Oh, just go in. Thank you, Will. It was a perfect lobby touch, boy. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, really though, like that was like.
It sounds like the code name of some Catholic priest.
Lobby touch, boy. Oh my goodness. Oh.